Hello and welcome to Prophecy Walkers. It's just Hazel here today. I am going live. I'm going to try and speak to you more. Alistair's been doing a great job on putting out amazing content, some parts of our lives that has been going on. And I'm also trying to emerge myself out of such a deep transformational process over these last years and come into a greater sense of connection with all of you beautiful tribe members here, and let's see if we can take this to a whole new level together. So my name's Hazel. What am I looking like today? Sometimes we look like we are just dragged through a hedge because Ascension symptoms are just absolutely wild. And this afternoon I have been experiencing an enormous amount of tension in my body. And I just wanted to get on here and just talk into this space because, yeah, thank you. I look fab. Awesome. Good to know. Yeah, so if you have any messages you're watching, put some messages into the chat. I'll see if I can answer your questions. I think the most important thing to do right now for me and anyone who's going through this is there's an aspect of our voice chakra that needs liberating. The deep, wild, sensual, awakened feminine is still having difficulty finding her place. Now, this is a resonance that I'm talking about. This is not attending a workshop on the divine feminine and then, and then talking about it. This is what happens after a really long embodiment process. For me, I mean, this has been ongoing for over 15 years, but in particular, these last 5 years. So, getting online and talking and from my authentic self of who I am today has been extremely challenging because I find the online space rather challenging space to be in, particularly when it's about making sure you have your right niche, who are you talking to, your audience and all of that. Because what is actually emerging in this new earth frequency, let's say, if you're tuned into these words, new earth frequencies, is that everything that we're doing right now, almost everything that we're doing becomes null and void. So there's a really big, massive transitionary phase that we're all going through right now. You will know this, but there's another level. There's a whole other level of actually bridging, living this higher frequency, this I want to say divine sequencing of innate intelligence that starts working through you, bridging that into the reality of this life we're living, this society that we're living in, and making this bridge. This is what we're doing. This is what Prophecy Walkers is about, bridging the reality between where we've come from, even though we've just left it, like this crash and burn society and this everything that's going on in the world right now, with this emerging new consciousness that's happening. All the people that I'm teaching and who are working with me, I'm always saying, we are literally in this lotus phase right now where the leaves are falling, the petals are falling, they're degrading and they're crumbling and they're going down to fertilize the earth. The towers are falling, and simultaneously the phoenix is rising. The open, expanded consciousness is becoming so much more open that it's happening simultaneously, all at the same time, and it's really challenging to then be like, oh my goodness, I've got this new awareness, I've got this new consciousness, but like even just looking back to tomorrow or looking at your agenda and going, that doesn't work anymore, that doesn't fit. How do we bridge this reality? This is exactly this space that Alistair and I are working into, and our very small tribe of people right now. I know we've got like almost 5,000 followers on here. Thank you for being here. Seriously. You do not know how challenging it is. Well, you probably do. Some of you probably do, when you've been absolutely smashed to pieces, left, right, center, ongoing, non-stop, day after day, month after month, because you feel, why did this happen? Because you feel that there's something more available in your heart. You feel that there is a greater sense of conscious awareness to be able to live. You know that intrinsically, you were born with that. And it's this birthright that's coming back right now. And it's so challenging to live this. And this is why I'm saying, get on board, join us in the property portal, please. Also, you know, send us a donation. We've given everything right now so that we can we are really pioneering this vibrational frequency of how do we actually live in these new earth frequencies. How do we actually live in love, in harmony? How do we do that? And this is what we are bridging into. This is what we are creating with Alistair and I, and this profound, at the moment, we're working very closely with a small group of people to share this awareness on how do we actually embody that and live that, and how does that translate back to, you know, doing your shadow work, you know, all of your somatic healing, whatever it is, whatever methodology you do. When you come to work with us, you'll realize that that was only just the first steps, that we put all of that methodology that you've been learning, you know, we don't like say, you know, it's all really super useful. And we say, you are the medicine pouch now, you are the medicine bag, you are on your own journey. Those methodologies got you thus far, and they will not get you over the threshold. Before I got to this point, yeah, I did listen to a lot of Ramdas. I was like, yeah, he's an interesting guy. How did he do this? And I listened to the sequencing of his work with plant medicine, and I thought that was rather interesting. And I've taken my own journey with plant medicine over the last 10 years. And if you work with it really sacredly in a very profound way, you can bridge yourself into this new reality. I don't know if a lot of people are actually seriously working consciously with the spirits of the medicine and the land when they're working with plant medicine. I was very fortunate to have some incredible teachers and sitting in some very profound, pure, sacred ceremonies. I don't do ceremonies like that anymore. I'm not sure if that's happening anymore, because this commercialization and this commoditization of plant medicine, I can't get involved with that. It's way too sacred. But anyway, where was I going with this? Totally gone off track here. But if you're listening in, or you know, if you're listening to this afterwards, then feel free to leave me any questions, because part of my issue is expressing my voice after I've been through all of this. You know, I've been through a lot of narcissistic abuse, a lot of bullying in my life. What do I want to say? Invalidation. Yeah, I love that guy. What's his name? This astrologer, Timothy Halloran. He talks about people being invalidated and been so invalidated the whole of their life, that, which is like me, and I'm sure if you're listening, you're probably feeling similar. You've been so invalidated the whole of your life. I just speak for myself, that my life is really about validating you. It's like, I know what you've been through. It's awful to feel like you've got these amazing ideas and you're just being invalidated left, right, and center, because this awareness, this consciousness, this love vibration is not being recognized inside of you. And I'm saying, I recognize you. Why do I recognize you? Because I've recognized myself, and I look back and I go, holy bleep bleep, did that really happen to me? Oh my God. there's all these amazing people on the planet, and we are losing them. We're losing them to plant medicine ceremonies because they get a high off it, and they're like, oh, I just keep going back. Because we've lost the sacredness of life, so people don't even know how to be in ceremony. And this is so strange, right? From a woman, this white woman in England, why does she know about that? Well, my investigation has been Indigenous people told me that they specifically came over to Europe to share their medicine with us. Not for like any kind of recreation. No, they specifically came here to give us the coding so that we could take our job seriously right now in this moment, to awaken our DNA, to resurrect the Indigenous lost culture that has laid dormant within our blood through all of our lineage. Why do you think our ancestors are so, like, the wisdom of them is so sacred? And there's always like, it doesn't matter if I die, the wisdom will not get lost. Why? For this moment right now. This moment right now. In fact, it started in 2020. So if you weren't doing your work in 2020, don't worry, we're here. We'll help you through the portals. Got some messages coming in here. Oh, Ms. KL, yes, our #1 fan. Yeah, thank you. It feels like everything we have learned is melting into something new and unique to each and every one of us. So no more labels or certificates. Yeah, that's absolutely right. This is why letting go of methods is so important right now. And in my teachings, I share about how to do this, because they're great. They're great. Like yoga, ecstatic dance, cacao ceremony, like whatever it is you're doing to, like, you know, get into your vibe and get out of the matrix. It's great. And then there comes a point where there's enough. There's enough. And I will even dare to say, like, because she says here, no more labels or certificates. Yeah, I've got my fair share of university degrees and goodness knows what else, and certificates left, right, and centre, right? And when I was also from my 5 years ago, after my shamanic initiations, which led to radical breakdown, which led to my like enormous awakening, which I've been integrating for the last 5 years. I could have also gone on a plateau right then and there and said, oh my goodness, I've got autism, I've got ADHD, I've got CPDSD, I've got, what was I also having? Fibromyalgia. I was also having agoraphobia. Yeah, couldn't even get out for months. All of that. Now, if I had taken on any of those labels, and even if I had taken on a label such as, what labels was I liking at some point? Yeah, ceremony facilitator. Yeah, you know, something that I do very expertly. But if I really name myself as that and consider myself as that, then I stop my own evolution. And if I took on any of these labels of what I was experiencing as I was purging myself through these portals of radical transformation in the breakdown, if I had attached myself to ADHD, CPDSD, etc., whatever it was, and yes, I do have all those symptoms, but I'm going for something much greater here. I'm going for the purification of the vibration of love and the divine consciousness that streams right through you. The only reason why I would want to hang on to any of those labels or certificates would be to enable me to feel a little bit safer in the radical breakdown and awakening that was happening. So just be aware of that. How do you want to identify yourself? Hey, Carolina's come in. Woohoo! Hi, nice to see you. What have we got here? I know someone who does plant medicine ceremony on a very regular basis, like every month. What effect can this have? So, so from what I witnessed regarding plant medicine ceremonies is, in purity, when you're working directly with the spirit of the medicine, there's a call. There's a relationship that builds with the medicine. when I was first offered, when I was living in Holland and I was first offered ayahuasca, I had no idea. Like, I've never done anything like that ever before in my life. And I was invited into this ceremony with high-level shamans from indigenous tribes from South America. Absolutely wow. It was absolutely wow. And I felt after then, I felt the spirit of the medicine with me after the ceremony, wanting to work with me, coming closer through the integration. So the integration process is really important for you to understand what is the medicine trying to say to me. And ultimately, through the medicine, we are connecting to greater parts of Gaia, Mother Earth. So if we are going to ceremonies every month, I mean, you know, no judgment, but here, I'm just based on a frequency level. If you're going to ceremonies every month, it's really worth questioning, am I attaching to that methodology? Has it become a methodology for me to feel good once a month, to get that vibe? I mean, wow, it's pretty amazing once you've purged your guts out to then be sitting around a sacred fire and be like, whoa, I am totally in love. Yeah, it's great. It's, or whatever epiphanies you're having, it's amazing. But again, this is one of the issues with the translation of these sacred practices that have still been alive in certain more indigenous countries where their indigenous is still very much more present, let's say now, is they have been told by the medicine to come and share the medicine into the West, because we will be, and we are in Europe, in other places, it's happening all over the world now, more and more since 2020, that we are awakening the lost, dormant DNA, the indigenous that's been lost within us. And the danger of that is we've been so hooked on, we've been so trained to be addicted, that then we even become addicted to plant medicine ceremonies. The question would be, how are you communing with the spirit of the medicine? Do you keep going, asking for intentions? Oh, I need to know this. I want to see this. These are really important questions. After I'd been to several ceremonies and I was sitting with indigenous from, it was like there was these ceremonies where there was indigenous from the North Pole, like the South Pole, these extremities of the earth. And in those ceremonies, I had like really wild initiations because these shamans from the different polarities of the earth were there. And some of the teachings, like we had like 5 hours of teachings before we even took any medicine. We had a whole day and evening of ceremony with sacred tobacco and sananga before we even took a master medicine. So all of this sacred process of going into ceremony, I'm not sure like how many people are really accessing and the sacredness and the reverence towards the medicine. I don't know anymore. I stopped going to group ceremonies because there was too much there was not enough reverence, let's say. Let's just put it that way. Not enough reverence. And then when there's not enough reverence, there's dodgy magic going around, because these medicines give you a heightened sense of your potential capacities, your potential powers. And if you're not aware of that, and if you're not aware of how that works and how to integrate it, then you think it's you and you attach to it. And this is the same as commoditization. So then that commoditization unconsciously can translate to going to a medicine ceremony once every month. I hope you understand this way in which I'm talking about this. So 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 then it just becomes another hobby, and that to me is not sacred. That's not sacred at all. So it's very, yeah, it's another trap, it's another label, it's another like spiritual certificate. And like, are you really listening to the power of that plant medicine? I went through various phases of working with different plant medicines. At the moment, I'm working with our indigenous plant medicines in a very potent way, such as rose and lavender and sage and rosemary and angelica. And I suppose my openings that I've had through working with stronger medicines, such as ayahuasca, bufo, rapé, Santa Maria, all of these master medicines give access, if you work with them in a ceremonial way, access to those greater parts of yourself. And there comes a time where you don't need plant medicine anymore because you're clean enough. You're clean enough. And when you've worked closely with the spirit of the medicine itself, you are guided by that medicine as when to start, when to stop, etc. And there requires another reverence as well. There's certain medicines, well, a lot of them actually, they move through me, and then it's like, oh, I feel the call, and then now it's time to stop. Yeah, working with Amanita. There was another one that popped in, completely forgot. Oh, yeah, mushrooms as well. But all in a very, very sacred way. Like these are tinctures, these are ointments, this is medicine. And yeah, and now, like I say, I'm working with lavender. Lavender and rose, which is equally as important. So how can you tell if someone is a good space holder for these ceremonies? I'm presuming that plant medicine in ceremony can leave you vulnerable to negative energies. Yeah, this is really important. I mean, Alistair will talk about this as well, is a lot of these yeah, charlatan shamans. I personally wouldn't sit with anyone now who wasn't an elder, I think, or really really deeply from that lineage, because I've only ever sat with people who are really connected to that lineage, and I think people are taking it in their own hands right now. And if they're not clear enough and they don't know how to work with the spirit of the medicine, that it can cause all sorts of problems, different entities. You know, it's so vast to work with the power of these medicines. It's so vast that yeah, it can absolutely leave you vulnerable and in negative energies. So I would really search for purity. I'd really search for the best if you were going to do that. Wow, I wasn't expecting to talk about plant medicine today, but hey, here we are. Yeah, so yeah, it's been really good to chat, actually. It's really helped me liberate my voice a little bit. And I am going to be coming live on Alistair and I are trying to find our own unique ways of feeding energy into prophecy walkers. And we've been on such, like, from the beginning, it's like boom, and we had like lots of people listening and lots of engagement, and then it's like whoa, you know, because we're like twin souls coming together. We're in this we've been in this incredible birthing canal ourselves, and the prophecy walkers have got quite dormant, and then like spirit is saying now, like, it's about tribe now, it's about coming together, it's about connection, because there's still so much separation in the world. And how are we healing that? well, it's very challenging, isn't it? It's extremely challenging. And sometimes the more conscious you get and the more aware you get and the more aligned in your heart you get, the less people like you. So it's pretty darn challenging. So I'm going to be trying to, liberating my body, sharing some of my wisdom that has been coming through me, not only for the last 15 years, but most importantly for the last 5 years. And one of the unique things about myself is I somehow have documented the whole process in art. Now, yeah, this is pretty wild, right? I'm still coming to terms with it myself, because as well as, you might consider myself as a ceremonialist or ascension guide or sacred feminine specialist, whatever you like, whatever label fancies you to, try and understand me. I am actually an artist. So and this this is such a profound journey, right? Because when you get so deep into the consciousness of life and Gaia and the marrying of as above, so below, and the unification of all of the elements and all of that within you, you realize you're a work of art. And so if you realize that you are a work of art. And as I've been fumbling through my life, trying to wake myself up ever since all of the traumatic invalidations of who I was growing up, I have carried the gift of art throughout the whole of my life. I mean, my chalices, my drawings, my creations, my performances, my songs, etc., etc. And I have been making an oracle deck for the last, well, it's over 13 years now. And this documents the process of ascension. Now, I'm in this process of trying to get this published, but you will not believe what is going on behind the scenes, because we are constantly working in this like tip of the spear ascension codes, like Alistair and I, because we're also doing it together. It's like we've both got a sledgehammer. We're both like carving the path ahead, creating that bridge. So it's like, come on guys, we're making a new path, come on. It's like, you could do this. And because there's both of us at it, because there's two of us, a man and a woman, and we're actually working in sacred union doing this, I know it's unbelievable, isn't it? We're actually living a fairy tale. We're actually living the story of a fairy tale. But this is what happens apparently when you wake up. And this is why we're sharing this story of the prophecy walkers, because you actually realize when you get to this level of awakening, you're actually walking the prophecy, your own foothold prophecy of why you came here and how you walk that. And this is one of the specialities that I am able to share with you because of my radical breakdown, awakening, shamanic initiation, whatever you want to call it, 5 years ago. That I have been meticulously integrating so that I could sit in ceremony and be absolutely authentic with you. And the women who are working with me right now, and Alistair, they will vouch for that and know exactly what I'm talking about. It takes time. It takes time to integrate all of this. So 13 years of documenting different phases, portraits of every phase of the evolutionary journey. This is a work in progress deck. Like, yeah, maybe I should auction this off for 10 grand to help me get it published. That would be a great one, wouldn't it? So, and this walks you through the process of understanding not only all of the teachings of the sacred teachings, the lost teachings of the sacred feminine, but it takes you right up until that choice point. Are you choosing for life, or are you choosing for death? Are you choosing for love, or are you choosing for fear? It's a black and white world. But at this phase, we need to know, how do we choose for love? How do we choose not for fear? And of course, there's a unification process after that, which is also highlighted in my oracle. So over these, I'm just because I have embodied, I didn't ask for this. This is what came from my own purification journey. I've been embodying the essence of the oracle, and I will have to go to Delphi at some point because my oracle said you have to go. So it's like, well, who am I to refuse that? Anyway, so it takes you up, it takes you through. This is divine union. This is a coding. When I was working with Buffo for a year in Sacred Sisterhood, working specifically with that medicine to understand the spirit of the medicine and how it supports life and transformation, this coding came to me. It just dropped down into me and told me this is the new coding for divine union. Now, when I met Alistair the first night I met him, we sat at a table and I showed him the raw illustration of this. It's one of the big illustrations like this, which for my private collection, which called The Sovereign Journey, which will hopefully be published as well at some point. I'm looking for plenty of miracles right now. I showed him this illustration and we joke about it now because he was like, ever since you showed me that illustration, my life has been completely foo-farred. It's been completely like transformed. He was living in London as a banker, but right now he's absolutely on the ascension path as a man, like living in sacred union with me through the coding. Now, don't try to understand this. Don't try to make sense of it. But if you work with me and well, if you also support the oracle and you work with the oracle, every single piece in here is a sacred coding to your own evolution. Now, so I will be, to help me talk and activate my throat chakra, because I have been, I don't know what I've been in a cave for years. I also feel a bit like a mad scientist at times, like this. I've been on this journey of reading the oracle, becoming the oracle, delivering the oracle, like working with these other people, these people who are coming in to be part of the oracle. And it's been utterly wild. Now, I didn't know where it was leading me. I just kept following the essence and spirit of the oracle right from the beginning, from an exhibition I had over 10 years ago, where my original question was, how can I help support people? How can I help support women? It's not about, what I'm doing here is not about teaching them how to draw, paint, perform, etc. Or write or whatever, I'm a multidisciplinary artist. It's not about being a teacher. There was something else, and it was about really tapping into that primal life force energy. And this is what I'm talking about now. This is the activation of your own life becoming your own sacred sequence of artistry. You become the art. Hey, Carolina. So from your own experience, the oracle is profound if you follow the energy in it. Yeah. Magical. Yeah. And you can't do it by understanding it out of your head. It's a feeling inside. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Thank you. Carolina is actually in the oracle. She's this one. Here we go. Still work in progress, you see. I think this oracle should be selling for thousands. Maybe I'll auction it off next year when I do my exhibition, if I can deliver that by some miracle. And indescribable too. Yeah, that's the thing. And this is the thing about frequency, is that when you're working in a higher level of frequency, there's no words. It becomes indescribable. And that's why it's so difficult for me to get on camera and talk to people, even though I know it's really important and it's like people need this message. I would much rather sit in a room and hold that frequency and work through that space. This is how I work. This is art. This is the frequency of art that comes through. This is speaking from the heart as well. This is speaking directly from my soul to yours through the heart. So yeah, so I will be talking through my oracle whenever I feel inspired. so that you can get to know these teachings. Now, another thing that is utterly profound is that somebody introduced to me the gene keys only like 2 or 3 months ago. And the gene keys themselves did not blow my mind. What blew my mind was the fact that I have lived and embodied that whole journey intuitively for the last 13 years without even knowing it, and documented it in this oracle. That's what blew my mind. And when I aligned each number to the gene keys, that further blew my mind, because it's like I followed intuitively. And my oracle, I decided, oh yeah, it needs to finish on 64 cards. I know. And just when I decided it finished on 64 cards, there was 2 bonus ones that come in. And that also becomes very clear as well as to the secrets that get unlocked when you are activated through the I Ching, through the gene keys, etc. And I'm really glad that I didn't know about it, actually, because again, there's this thing of knowing. If you know too much, it can actually get in your way. And then you have to start to learn to not know, and learn to unknow, so that you can then rebirth yourself through the unknowing. You know, it's like a baby. It's like, you know, he doesn't know what's going to happen. There comes a time where there's this energy of birthing into something new. I was going to do a rather comedy description there of the baby exiting the womb, but I won't do that. It's like the baby doesn't know. It's just like this force of nature that is just moving through in total synergy with creation itself, with the body, with the womb of creation, with the mother, to move out of the body, you know, to go into that new phase of life. And in a way, let's come back to the subject of what I came on here to talk about, is we are all moving into a new phase of life right now. We are birthing ourselves again and again. And in actual fact, I am redoing one of the cards, card 35, which is the miracle of birth right now, the miracle of rebirthing yourself. And what is more miraculous than actually learning to die before you die? I mean, the great teachers and gurus say this, and that had fascinated me for years. I was like, die before you die. Die before you die. Die before you die? How do you die before you die? Well, if you contemplate it and then let go of contemplating it, and then just completely let go and allow the unfolding of your life to happen without control of who you think you are, you will begin to start shedding these parts of yourself that are illusions that have kept you hidden and trapped within the vessel that you are. And if you are lucky or courageous enough or daring or even stupid enough, perhaps, that shedding can happen and you really can die before you die in this lifetime. It really is possible. And I come back to this card. This is also the card of death and life, learning how to die, but learning how to live again. Learning how to feel like that absolute ego death in that moment, but then realizing like, oh my goodness, I'm in duality. Have you ever had those moments like, this is what's happening right now as well, right now in the collective? Particularly if you're lucky enough to not attach to any labels or certificates, you're going to be in this, oh my God, what's happening? I'm dying, I'm living, I'm dying, I'm living. And it comes to a moment where all of that has to stop and you're faced with a choice. And that choice is for love. Are you able to choose through all your pain and suffering for love? And when you start witnessing that choice point, and this card's going to be called the choice point now, because this is really such a profound teaching for people of this moment, is that you either choose for love or you don't. And it's so clear cut, because the love itself enables you to merge with your dark self. So it completely obliterates who you used to be. And then there's this other merging, this other wholeness that happens when you're able to fully find that deepest part of yourself, that you can't take it anymore, that you have to find that place where only love is chosen. And this deep, profound vow to yourself of, and this realization, like how much we have been lying to ourselves about what love is, but never actually living it. And then it comes to this moment, and then the choice, like I had this moment, you know, I'll talk about it some other time because we're getting on for like 40 minutes already, but I had this choice point multiple times during my awakening 5 years ago, how to choose for love, like really, how really to choose for love. And it hits you so hard. And when it does, you see it, it's like the rose tinted glasses come off, the goggles come off, the blinkers come off, and you see everything. You see everything, you feel everything, you hear everything. And if you think you're going mad, well, I certainly thought I did. If you think you're going mad, like it's actually a good sign. You're not going mad, but you do need people around you, like myself and this tribe of people that we're growing right now in this particular frequency of elevated consciousness, to recognize you soul to soul and say, you're doing great, keep going. Yeah, it feels like destruction right now, but yeah, keep going. It's really great, you're doing awesome. I had two or three people around me at the time, and thank God for them, because, you know, without these one or two people, I probably wouldn't have made it. It also feels like Gene Keys is very present now, but possibly is infinite and goes beyond what we have been given. So what lays beyond that? Infinite possibility. Yeah, totally. This is what I'm talking about with my oracle, is what is behind the Gene Keys. We're really just cats disguised with 9 lives. Yeah. And I think this is one of the interesting things. And I really, you know, hope that, well, it will happen. People will get more on board with what I have got here, which goes beyond the Gene Keys, and it goes into how do you embody that, and how, if you are living this artistry of life and we are living through frequency, then the frequency of the awakened feminine, the frequency of that love vibration through the vessel of a woman from the heart and soul consciousness that is speaking through this embodiment, it's prophesized about the rising feminine, okay? Which means that through the vessel of a woman who has been doing this work, this is the leadership energy that is needed in order to shift realities even further. Now, a woman working in partnership with the frequencies of the sacred masculine or the masculine rising, again, is not, it's not just two people, it's two becoming one together, which opens up the infinite. And this is exactly what is outlined, the whole journey from being alone to complete unification at the end. This is exactly what I've intuitively outlined for the last 13 years. So yeah, my oracle does need to get out there so others can realize that it accesses and it helps you access through frequency, through the art that's in here, but also the other level of coding that happens from that hidden feminine essence, that hidden ascended feminine frequency, which is coming down into earth and saying, hey, I've got a gift, would you like to share it? Would you like me to share it with you? And so this is what I'm bringing out with the Oracle. So all the support for making that happen right now is utterly needed, because we do, like, the Gene Keys is great, the I Ching is great, this is ancient wisdom, and if we read it and we even hook onto that as a method, you're trapped again. So this is why it's also really important to take your own journey. And I mentioned earlier on in this video about plant medicine. There's a certain level of reverence as there is to plant medicine, as there is to knowledge. And ultimately, there's this, when you're weaving your own reality and you're able to go beyond needing the knowledge, you pick up pieces like a sacred weaver. And this is part of the 13 grandmothers energy, which is also highlighted in my oracle. In card 62, we have this sacred weaving energy that us as women know through our vessels, as born as female, born as women within us, and living as a vessel of the sacred feminine awakening. We know intrinsically how to weave. We know intrinsically how to connect the dots. This is why, if you attach to any methods, whether it be yoga, goodness me, there's so much, isn't there? Don't want to even list them. But this is why it's like you're weaving this network. You know, we are likened to spiders, the essence of spiders. She, the great spider web, the great web of creation. All of this has been stolen and stopped from us accessing this information, and I have done it. I've done it in my oracle. I've shown how we do it. I don't know. I'm going to have to start sharing more about it, because it's absolutely miraculous. And doing that by letting go of knowledge, letting go. Any methods, any holding on to methods or experiences will only get you so far, and then you will reach a brick wall, and then an end will come. And, well, you either choose to get comfortable there, or you choose for growth again. And there's another choice point. It's again life or death. So yeah. So we would like to invite you to become part of the prophecy portal that we are opening for people who are really ready for the next level. I know it's like super scary. When I was on the other side of this, I wouldn't even know necessarily what I was talking about right now. But all I will say is, if you feel a resonance, and if there's something not working in your life right now, and you have followed many different methods already, or even if you're just jumping out straight out of London, like my beloved Alistair did, you know, straight out of the bank and into the sacred vessel of the feminine. Yeah. So, you know, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, but if something's not working, you know, we have some very profound gifts to share with you, but it will involve your participation of really knowing that something else is available, and this core sense within you, like, yeah, I need change now, this is going to happen. Then we can work together, you know, and just be in contact with us. Join us in the prophecy portal, and yeah, really value your support and donations right now. It's so important. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at this for now, because I'm just rambling on, and I need to get a little bit more coherent on how I deliver my messages. But until then, have a beautiful day. And yeah, let's see how much I can deliver and liberate my voice online, doing it live. Goodness me, Alistair's been working his ass off, trying to sort of like reinvent prophecy walkers. Like, wow, we're emerging out of the bog, we're emerging out of the deep. It's like, ah, humanity, we've got some love for you. Are you ready? So yeah, You're very welcome. Lots of love to all of you, and thanks for joining me, and we will see you soon. Bye for now.